Hello, this is Paul, and I'd just like to remind you that I am teaching classes over at the First Church of the Brethren here in Harrisburg, and there we are able to have you have 10 different lessons when you earn a free computer, and you get a very nice certificate at the end of 12 lessons. And also, I like to make mention that all of these lessons can be repeated as necessary for you to be able to use your computer effectively. So, in the past, I haven't said too much about our ability to use printers on our computer. When we give you a printer, we do not give you any kind of printers, unless somebody donates a couple, and they are also including the disk that is necessary to install it. So I'm able to do the best I can, but basically you're going to go to the store and you're going to want to get a printer one time. With this in mind, I'd like you to remember that there are many different printers available for you to be able to use. And keep in mind, compatibility is pretty much universal. So that means that all of the printers that you see in the store, whether if you go to Staples that has a lot of selection, or Office Max likewise has a large selection, and other places with major selections. You might go to Walmart and see a few selections, and also there are different computer stores that might have a few selections. But all in sense here, you're going to be baffled with all the different computers and all the different printers that are there presented in front of you. Talking about printers, you need to be thoughtful as to what your needs are. Do you need the best printer on the shelf? Do you need to spend that much money for a printer when all you want to do is a few documents to be able to hand in if you're going to a school, or a couple documents that you're going to give to friends, or be able to print out your email like a friend of mine does, and he does a presentation online and he uses these prints that is able to bring up his prayer request. So there is many different uses that you might have for wanting a printer. I have heard of people telling me they're not sure if they really want a printer. Or to the other extreme, why in an office sense, they might be printing out hundreds of copies to be distributed throughout the facility, whether it be a church, a business, or whatever it may be. At most, I have done 500 pages with two of my computers here that are of decent speed, and I'm going to be demonstrating them very shortly. And one thing I want you to realize, that when you consider what printer is right for you, look on a wall there that's probably behind you or somewhere located close by. See how much the ink costs, and you'll get an idea of what the real cost of that printer is. You can get many printers on sale and get them very inexpensively, and get them for the cheaper than the cost of the ink. But once you have that printer, you're going to be using that ink, and the expense of your printing is really that direction. So once you decide that you might want to have a fax, you might want to have a copy capability, you might want to have scanning capabilities to put it on your computer. Many newer printers have card slots that you take out of a camera and be able to plug it in and get excellent copies being produced without the use of your computer. So there is a lot of capabilities in a printer to consider. Do you want to get more than what you're going to use? And it's important to realize that the printer you buy is the one that is going to be sitting in your home for your personal use. Let's take a look that you have settled on a printer, and when we get on a printer, we are going to want to have it installed on our computer. Now, one thing I want you to realize is that in the installation, you will want to slide the disk that comes with that printer into your machine, and it'll bring up a wizard or a step-by-step process to achieve that purpose. Well, I want to talk to you about looking at the printers that you have installed on your computer. You got your printer home, you have it properly installed. Now it's going to be interesting to know how to set it up effectively. Please be aware that in the cost of the ink, the black is basically cheaper than the colors. You might spend relatively the same amount of money on a black cartridge, but it will also be much larger with capacity of your printing. So effectively, the black ink is much cheaper. So there are certain settings on your computer that you can use that black ink on certain documents and bypass the use of your color, and your color will last much longer. Now, to do this, I want you to go on the Start button down on the lower left side of your screen, and when you bring that up, you're going to take notice that there are different selections, and I want you to direct you to printers and faxes. Once you single click with the left button on your mouse, you'll get this screen that is there with a list of different printing devices on there. Now, this is a screen on which I have at home with one of my computers. However, be aware that these are not all physical printers, but are printing devices that will create different things. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm circling where I have an HP Color LaserJet CP2020 series. This is my main printer that I use for a lot of heavy-duty printing. I'm going to take you to notice that there is a black or a white check mark with a black circle there, and that designates what is default. Let me explain what is default. It is the basic settings of your computer that will use that device in a certain way as it is set. When you install a printer on your computer, it will be factory set with certain default provisions on there. When you do a single print command, some programs will give you a quick print and it'll use these default settings. And I'm going to show you how to change it. But take notice over here, I have the Bullzip PDF printer. Now, I can change the default device by right-clicking on there. When I use my right click on the mouse, it will always bring up a menu. Now, take notice that there is a provision in this menu that says set as a default printer. When you click with the left button of your mouse, you'll be noticing that that check mark will change to what I have selected. It is no longer the default of a printer selection with the HP. Now, one thing I want you to notice here when you look in this screen, that this check mark is it's changed over, and you're going to be able to see on there that there is a display with that setting. But take notice the hand underneath the printer. It is offering it to other computers when you have a network. And when you have a home network, which means that you are connecting more than one computer to operate on a single service. Some people will plug in their computer on a single service to share their network connection with many computers in their house, but it is only a single connection. Well, that's where things are being shared. When we're talking about printers and faxes, we can offer these on our network so that other computers can use our printer on this machine. And in essence, if you have a house with 3 different computers, you can use one printer for everybody. In other words, you don't have to have a printer for each machine. Take notice that there is on the top here where it says Auto HP OfficeJet J4680 series. I have it circled, and it has a conduit on there underneath the picture or the icon. This means that another computer has offered it as a shared printer, and you pick it up with this type of an icon. The hand on the bullzip and also on Microsoft XPS document writer, they have hands on it that offer it to that other machine. Now on the other machine, they will also see a conduit connection underneath that icon and be able to realize what is being shared. Okay, so we have a realization of what's going on here. Now let's look at this that we're going to look at how to make basic settings on your computer, and they are called as being default. What we're going to do is we're going to right click on the printer of our choice, and here I'm using my LaserJet printer, and I'm going to show you that we are going to go into printing preferences. Be aware that when you make changes to here, it is universal in your computer. What is default is universal for every program that offers the capability of printing. And once you choose printing preferences, you're going to be able to see a screen not like this, but something that is appropriate for your printer. It is, you're going to see later on that this will be different on the other printers that are available on my system. Now, take notice I have on the left side a selection to be able to make envelopes, be able to use cardstock or glossy presentation, snapshot photos, and there's a scroll bar there that there are other selections as well. But take notice on the right of this, I also can change my paper size, the source where I have different trays or different sizes of paper in my printer, and also printing on both sides is important, that we're able to have the capabilities of what is called duplexing. Duplexing means you can print on both sides, and you're going to have the ability to select whether if it will be flipped up for the image to be the opposite direction on the second side, or flip over and be able to have a selection of it being printed the same direction on both sides. So this is a very useful thing that I use. Basically, I do a lot of printing with duplexing on both sides of my paper, and it cuts my paper bill in half. Now, take notice that on another printer, we're going to right-click on HP Color LaserJet CBP 2020, and when we make that selection similar, we go in and left-click on printing preferences the same way as the other one, and we will get a screen that is now designated for HP Color with the LaserJet. Now, what happens here, we have a simple selection of color, and we're going to be able to have another selection on, let's see, I'm missing on my notes here. Now, as I have pointed out on here, you have automatic to choose for your color, and we're also going to have a selection to make it manual. Now, when we make it manual, we're going to be able to use settings to make the definition that we want it to be. For example, you might have a picture on your document that you want it to look good, better than what the standard color is. So with that in mind, I think that you have a logical choice there to make. Most documents will not have the capability of being able to, well, not capable, but it's not necessary, but to print in color. So if you select print in grayscale, it will save the use of your color. You might not be printing in color, but your printer will designate certain usage in that color, which might not give you the best use of color in your computer. So using print in grayscale can be very useful for you and be able to save color ink. The only thing then is you're going to be changing to black more often, which is that way anyway. I'd like to direct your attention to the tabs going across the top. This LaserJet has very many capabilities for quality and special effects. There is certain things that I can do with this printer that I cannot do with the other one. So I just want to show you that when we get into another printer that we're going to look at, you're going to recognize what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go back to printers and faxes, and I'm going to change this printer to be default to another HP printer, and it's my OfficeJet Pro. This is a printer that is inkjet. So let's not get the two confused. So right here, my inkjet is going to be made to the capability of being default. And as we set it to default, we'll be able to make that selection, but right underneath it, there's also printing preferences. So let's take a look at the printing preferences that is inside there. Take notice that this is a much different screen than what we saw on the Office, LaserJet. There is only 2 tabs at the top, and although they are both HP printers, the capabilities are very different. So take notice that we have a much simpler screen here, and with the basic settings, we're going to be able to choose whether if our printing is going to be portrait or landscape. Now remember, when we do it this way, when we set the preferences this way, it will act that way for every document you print, unless you go in and change the settings on it. So in other words, the default settings is not in stone. You can always change them for the special needs of that document alone. So here we have a choice of portrait or landscape, and also we're able to use this printer with the duplexing mode on it to either flip it on the long edge or the short edge. Now there's also capabilities of increasing the number of copies that you make for every document that you print on your computer by increasing this number. This number can be increased or changed for any single document, but we're still in the sense of looking at this to perform every time you print. Okay? And in another session, I'm going to show you how different ways of printing it's going to take effect. So once we look up here, we see there's only 2 choices up there to make settings on this printer, whereas before the tabs was going all the way across. So I'd like to tell you that in this process, many printers that are out already, and we have a newer version of Windows, many of these printers are going to be included as a plug and play. In other words, Windows will install some printers automatically that you don't have to do too much to be able to use them. An example is, let me tell you about my laser. The laser, when I bought it, it was very necessary to install it with the disc that came with it. And it offered a duplexing mode, but I had to turn the paper over all the time. There was a time I went on the web and I found that there was a duplexer that I could install on this machine. And I wanted to get it, but it didn't pan out for me. However, when I upgraded my equipment and got Windows 7, this printer was already included as a plug and play. And when I brought it up, it came up with the duplexer already in it. So now I find out that I had this capability all the time. I just didn't know it, and it wasn't installed that way. So now I am enjoying the full capabilities of my printer much more than what I did before. These printers can be installed very simply by plugging them in, and if it's on the list that is installed with Windows, it will bring up a step-by-step wizard to be able to install the printer and confirm what it is, and be able to proceed automatically and be able to use the printer very easily. In the next session, I'm going to show you the different ways that you use your printer, and this is to talk about any kind of printer, how it is active on your computer. And you're going to be finding out that there is more than one way to print a document than it is most likely. This is Paul Jones. This is part of a lesson that we are giving over at the First Church of the Brethren here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And we are offering free computers there for 10 different lessons that you attend the class and get the notes from me. And it's a real pleasure to see people that come in and complete all 12 lessons, and they get a very nice certificate that is suitable for hanging. And I welcome this opportunity to be able to explain things to you, and if you are enlightened by this, I'd appreciate a line of encouragement. Be sure to click on that response button there and be able to give me some words of encouragement, or you might even ask me certain questions about specific printers or situations that you are facing. Like I said, there's a lot to learn one piece at a time, especially when you're starting out as a brand new person with the computer. And instead of tackling it all at one time, take it a little piece at a time. Take it at your own pace. Don't be intimidated. Okay? And I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.